next few days. It's TBD. He's pitching a whole bunch of different games.
I guess he's going to be traveling a lot.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper didn't come through.
Good morning. Welcome to United States Sports Academy, our weekly sports talk program. With me today is Dr. Fred Cromartie, our Director of Doctoral Studies, and Dr. Brett Simmermacher, our Chair of Sports Coaching. I'm Steve Butler, and I'll be your host today. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the Major League Baseball playoffs. Today is one of the few days in the month of October that we don't have baseball.
Yeah.
I think if you look at the schedule, we actually have baseball almost every day for the rest of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta tell you, I'm a Giants fan. I'm sitting here between an Indians fan and a Cubs fan. So
Go Cubs, go! Go Cubs, go!
So these guys are a little bit happier this morning than I am. But it was a great game last night. And let's start with the wild card games. I think when they went to the second wild card and the one game thing, they did it mainly to put more emphasis on winning the division.
Right.
So if you don't win the division, you're in kind of a one or done
Well,
situation.
that's what they tell us, but we really know the real deal. It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with the fact that they were able to put another game together where they get money out of it.
No, I don't think that.
Oh yeah, it's
I don't
not
think
money,
baseball
man.
would ever do anything.
No, none of the sports would ever do that. It's not about the almighty dollar.
But what it does is it creates that, like, basically an automatic Game 7, and you get the incredible pitching performances, like the second game, the National League wild card game was San Francisco at New York, and all we heard about was Madison Bumgarner against Noah Syndergaard, and man, they lived up to the hype.
They did.
So I still don't understand why they took Syndergaard out after 7 innings, but they bring in the reliever, and
Well, that's the manager who can't get past himself.
yeah, I think they
You gotta
got.
let it go. Your guy is rolling. I mean, let it pitch out of it. That's your guy that you go to. That's supposed to be your first line of defense. Stick with him.
Well, he didn't even. Syndergaard didn't even come out for the 8th.
Yeah, I know. We didn't get to him, so it's like, what are you doing?
One of the things that was kind of interesting, the very first game, Edwin Encarnacion hit a walk-off 3-run homer
Yeah.
for the Blue Jays to beat the Orioles, and Buck Showalter got crucified on ESPN for basically what's the lefty's name? Their closer.
I don't know.
But he was
But
40.
He didn't come out of the bullpen.
Yeah, he did.
He was 47 for 47 during the year. Some people are saying he's going to be in the top 3 in the Cy Young voting.
Yeah.
Tim Kirchin said he's going to vote for him for Cy Young in the American League. So, but he never got out of the bullpen. So everybody's saying to Showalter, how can you not pitch your best pitcher? How can he not even get him in the game? And I think we understand that when you're the visiting team, you try to save your closer for that one inning when you score in the top of the inning. Then you can bring him to close the game. But then the very next night, the Mets bring in their closer in the 8th inning, and to pitch probably most likely 2 innings. And Connor Gillespie hits a 3-run homer off. One of the things that was pretty cool is Madison Bumgarner was done. They had all shaking his hand, and he was getting his warm up and drinking some water. Then Connor Gillespie hits that 3-run homer, and I don't know if you saw the dugout, but he was scrambling to find his batting helmet and his bat. Because Bruce Bochy actually ran out of the dugout to grab the guy that was in the on-deck circle. Because if he starts walking towards home plate and the umpire goes like this, Bumgarner would have been done. So Bochy almost tackled that guy to keep him from walking towards home plate as soon as he hit that 3-run homer. But those two games were awesome. You had the Encarnacion walk-off 3-run homer, and Gillespie's wasn't a walk-off, but it was in the top of the 9th, and allowed San Francisco to Bumgarner pitch a complete game. And some of the stats they were putting up, his ERA on the road in playoffs now is like .50, and he's on a list with Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson, and Mariano Rivera. Which
But
is,
he's getting plenty of rest now.
huh?
He's getting plenty of
He's
rest
getting
now.
plenty of rest now.
Yeah. Got till next year.
And then we got we went to the American League Division Series. Were both sweeps, but some of the games were actually pretty exciting.
Boy, did Texas disappoint, though.
Yeah, they had the best record in the American League.
And you think that they were, in it to win it, but all of a sudden,
Sometimes-
boom, it just
Sometimes the layoff hurts you more than it helps.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You know,
There's a lot to be said for that, although it didn't affect the Cubs. You know, the Cubs haven't played a meaningful game before the playoffs started, probably
I mean,
for a month.
I know when you're
Yeah,
coaching
but
high school baseball and you get to the state playoffs and you're the number one seed
Yeah.
and you've got an odd number of teams, you've got to decide, do I want to play or do I want to wait in the winner's bracket? And a lot of coaches would rather play. Even though they're playing a lesser opponent,
Yeah, you gotta play.
it would rather not become stagnant and the players become stagnant.
Every game counts.
Yes.
And even though the Cubs did not swing the bats all that great during the San Francisco series, they did. They had, they stepped up when they had to, and that's what saved the day.
Yeah, but those were the two teams easily with the best pitching staffs in the playoffs. Was Chicago and San Francisco. I mean, that first game between Lester and Cueto, that was an instant classic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, both of those guys pitched their guts out, and Cueto basically made one bad pitch, and Baez made him pay for it.
He didn't miss.
No, he didn't miss it. He's not missing many.
No.
But Connor Gillespie was 4 for 4 last night. The Giants were already hold the record for the 10 consecutive wins in must-win games.
Now they're 10-1.
How was I saw where the ball hit the top of the stadium and it was mere inches away from the post and that. So how is that not a home run?
Well,
that was just amazing.
The concrete was like, I think it hit the metal. Personally, it doesn't matter because they both scored anyway.
Yeah,
But if you look at it, to me, if a ball's coming down like this and hits a thing at an angle, it's going to go up. The ball came straight back. So it looked like it hit because you had the rail here, and then if you look at the replay, whatever the ball hit, it came straight
yeah.
back.
They were debating that, and people were one way or the other. Well, regardless of whether it's an inch away or whatever it is, it hit the top of your stadium. I don't care if you have another green post there so idiots don't fall off into the field or not. The fact of the matter is that's the top of your stadium. That should, to me, that's a home run. But I was like, huh?
The one that Chris Bryant hit the night before to tie the game hit off the top of the
Yeah.
car. Remember those cars in left field? But the American League Division Series, Toronto won Game 1 over Texas 10-1. That was kind of a blowout. Toronto beat one Game 2 5-3. Then Game 3 was the best game of the series, and they got to the bottom of the 10th, and Toronto had runners on first and second with one out, and they hit a ground ball to shortstop's right. Elvis Andrews made a good play, threw the ball to second, and the relay throw from second to first was kind of in the dirt and only skipped away from the first baseman a couple feet. And Josh Donaldson, running from second, never slowed down. And
guess who it was that threw the ball?
yeah,
The guy that punched Bucky.
Yeah.
there was a great sign. Somebody had a sign in the bleachers that said, "It's better to get punched in May than to get knocked out in October." So Odor was one.
And Donaldson's a local boy.
Yeah, Donaldson's from right here in Mobile.
Right here in Mobile.
Reigning American League MVP for at least a couple of
Well,
years.
went to school in Mobile. I think he's originally from Florida, Pensacola.
And he also went to Auburn. Played 3 years. He was a catcher at Auburn, which was kind of interesting. He became an MVP third baseman. The other series, Cleveland and Boston, another sweep. Both series in the American Leagues both series in the American League were sweeps.
Well, David Price falls apart again. Postseason, non-existent.
Cleveland won the first game 5-4 behind their bullpen. Andrew Miller was awesome. They basically kind of reminds me when I used to play Stratomatic baseball. You get to your bullpen as quick as you could because the cards for the relievers were better than the cards for the starters. But then, Game 2, 6-0.
Well, just so Dr. Summermacher knows, don't you worry, they're not playing the Red Sox no more.
Corey Kluber pitched into the 8th inning, a shutout ball in Game 2.
I think it's going to be a good series.
It is going to be a great series, yeah.
Like Cleveland and Toronto?
Yeah.
It should be a good series.
I think both, American and National, depending on who goes from the National League side. It's going to be 2 good series on who gets to the World Series.
Well, again, for the World Series, everybody's counting on the Cubs to get there because there's been such a long, long drought. They were actually looking for the Cubs and the Red Sox because of nostalgia and history and all this good stuff and everything. But I'm in agreement with you. I think no matter what, this is going to be an interesting World Series this year. Mm-hmm. And, kudos to the teams that make it. And, we all know I'm a Cubs fan and that. And if they win it, great. I'll be ecstatic and jubilant for the next 364 days and that, but
Well, as
man,
happy
it
as they
all-
would be in Chicago,
oh,
they would be just as happy in Cleveland, Ohio.
well, no question. But see, you guys just won the NBA championship, so
True.
don't discount that.
But you got the
You've already
Blackhawks.
forgotten about LeBron.
You've got the Blackhawks.
Yeah, but we didn't win last year. We didn't win last
But
year.
you
We
won.
put 3 together in a 5-year period
Right.
or 6-year period. But hey, that's not
And
the
then
same.
you had Michael before that.
Yeah, but that's long.
When did they win the World Series? 54?
Yeah, it's been a
Ooh.
while.
54, 55, I think.
Yeah, but see,
Yeah, try.
108 years is a far cry from 54.
It is.
Yeah. The Cubs are on a century-long losing streak.
Yeah, the curse of the Billy Goat may just go out the window.
Yeah.
I don't think the Cubs will get swept this year like they did last year against the Mets in the,
Yeah, that
in
was-
the National Championship Series. One thing that when the Cleveland Indians completed the sweep in Boston, David Ortiz walked out to pitcher's mound and saluted the crowd. That was pretty cool. But you could tell how emotional he was.
The Indians fans
But
weren't
it-
happy though.
Yeah.
They were not happy with TBS. We're in there celebrating.
Yeah, and you're out
And
there.
you're out there with David Ortiz.
Yeah, and that's true.
Well, here's a question for you. With his great career and everything like that, is David Ortiz a first-round Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame?
We've talked about this on the air before. I think David Ortiz is going to get an incredibly interesting case at five.
Yes, I do
years
too.
now, because his numbers 10 years ago, those numbers were automatic,
Mm-hmm.
and he's had statistically there is no doubt he's had the best last season any player has ever had.
Mm-hmm.
You can't argue with that. If you like David Ortiz, don't like him, you can't argue with the numbers. This was the best final season of anybody. Better than Ted Williams, better than Willie Mays, better than Barry Bonds. His numbers this season
Was he on
incredible.
something?
That's the question. What was kind of interesting about a week and a half ago, Rob Manfred came out and kind of defended David Ortiz.
Mhm.
Said people kind of misunderstand that is the way it was worded was that David Ortiz may have been one of the people who tested positive.
No, he was on that list.
He was on the list, but Rob Manfred kind of muddied the waters a little bit there. And I've always thought that David Ortiz was going to be an interesting case because very even throughout this whole season, nobody's really talked about it too much.
No, nobody's made reference to any of it.
Yeah.
And that makes, again, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but Major League Baseball knows he's in that group of those players that had some questionable years. His name showed up on the list not once but twice, and nothing was ever done. So, again, it's going to call the question about Hall of Fame voters. Do you see it one way for one player and another for this player? And that's that. It's just it's a sad commentary, so to speak, basically.
Yeah, it is. But and it'll be interesting to see Barry Bonds' numbers keep going up each year. At the pace he's going up, he won't make it in 15 years.
He won't make it,
But
and that's a shame.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay, so let's talk about the National League Division Series a little bit. The Dodgers and Nationals are actually the only two teams still playing in the Division Series. They have Game 5 tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock our time in Washington. And the good news for Washington is they have Scherzer with full rest.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think he's going to be the National League Cy Young Award winner. So they got him, and pitching for the Dodgers is good old Mr. TBD.
But let's break it down to managers. Dusty Baker has a tendency to choke in these kinds of games.
Yeah, he's been there, done that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And Dave Roberts this is his first year, so
Yeah.
we'll see how he plays it. There was some talk. I even heard some people. Dr. Simmermacher and I talked about this yesterday. Some people on TV were advocating that Roberts save Kershaw for Game 5, and we both think that's nonsense.
Yeah, you got to get them.
You got to get to 5. Yeah, exactly.
Like Brett and I talked about yesterday. I don't care if I have to go down the bullpen and say you're pitching the first, you're pitching the second, you're pitching the third, you're pitching the fourth, and we use 9 guys for 1 inning. You had to use Kershaw yesterday, and he pitched well. He
pitched well.
Pitched into the 7th and gave them a chance to win, which is all you can. He threw 110 pitches on 3 days rest.
Well, but you also too, you get a couple of calls his way, and it changes the whole dynamic of it. Because in the fifth, there were a couple of pitches that, I mean, I'm looking and I'm thinking, they're right on there.
Mm-hmm.
And no, call the ball. I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'm not behind the plate. I don't see, yeah. And you see on Kershaw's face, he's like,
Yeah.
you know.
we could do 4 weeks worth of shows on how horrible the
Yeah.
umpires are. There was one pitch last night.
It's over. Don't use it as an excuse.
No, I'm not using it. They're just terrible both ways. There was one pitch.
It's the human element of the game.
No, it's not the human.
Oh, yes.
When a pitch is right, when they show the K zone, and if you did the geometry and it was exactly in the middle of K zone, and the umpire doesn't call that a strike, there's something wrong.
Well, that's because he didn't see it come through the bifocals.
He had his eyes closed.
These guys are supposed to be the best.
They are the best. That's why they're up there. They're just old.
Anyway, the Dodgers won Game 1, which is kind of important because the Dodgers have never lost a 5-game series in which they won Game 1.
Mm.
So, but like we said, they've got to go against Scherzer tomorrow night, and we have no idea who's pitching for the Dodgers yet. And then Washington came back and won games 2 and 3 fairly easily, 5-2 and 8-3. And then the Dodgers won yesterday 6-5 to force a Game 5.
Well, they say that young kid to be determined is pretty tough.
Yeah, he's got a good curveball.
Regardless of who it is, we'll be on a short leash.
Yeah. Oh,
You can bet on that.
One of the interesting things is the last 3 games have been played, the score's been 6-5 in each game.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bet on 6-5 tomorrow.
That's your lottery number for the day.
Who are you taking?
I'm rooting for the Dodgers, but I think you got to go with Scherzer. And when Scherzer's on, he's nearly unhittable. He's got 2 no-hitters. He's got a 20 strikeout game.
But see, the thing in his favor though too is they showed that when Scherzer is on his game, the bats come alive for the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, that's some serious runs put up behind good
There's
quality
a lot
pitching.
of variables that
Yeah,
come into
they're-
play when you got somebody on the mound that you're confident in, and not only on the offensive side but on the defensive side.
Yeah, that's
you know
true.
he's not going to waste time. He's going to keep you in the game.
Yeah.
But for him,
Unless he's
it's like
striking out
a
20.
4-run differential between him and another one of the pitchers.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Same thing with the Giants in the game they won. Even though Bumgarner didn't get the win, they go into that game with just what you're talking about. They're going to the game. Okay, the big dude's pitching tonight. We're going to win.
Yeah.
And so they got that confidence going in. The Chicago-San Francisco series, we talked about Game 1, classic pitching duel between Lester and Cueto. Baez homers in the 8th to win it 1-0. And in some ways, Lester actually pitched better. I mean, Cueto actually pitched better than Lester. Gave up fewer hits and had more strikeouts, but made that one mistake. And then Chicago won Game 2 pretty easily, 5-2. And then we had the walk-off double by Joe Panic at 1:43 in the morning, our time, on a Monday night.
I saw that in the morning.
I actually had gotten up at 3 o'clock Monday morning to take our Chinese students to the airport, and I went home and ate dinner, and I was watching the Cleveland Red Sox game, and I woke up and Seinfeld was on TV. I must have fell asleep like at 6:30, so I went to ESPN to see the Cleveland Boston score, and the first score I saw was San Francisco 5, Chicago 5, bottom of 10. So I flipped over to FS1, and I actually watched the last 3 innings of it, then went back to sleep. But it was kind of funny because they about quarter. The game ended at 11:43 San Francisco time. At 11:30, they put a thing up on the jumbotron that says the last ferry leaves at 12 o'clock. So those people are
Scrambling.
Gotta get out of
They'll
there.
have to go to the BART station. Now if they stayed, I don't know if you can make it from the ballpark to the BART station in 17 minutes. But the game ended at 43, so I don't know how many people bailed to make sure they made the last ferry. But that was kind of funny when they put that up on the screen. And then last night, I think everybody was, after 8 innings, everybody was talking about the second Cueto-Lester matchup in Game 5. And then
I think Cueto was even looking forward to it. He was smiling, sitting on the top step.
And then the Cubs rallied for 4 runs in the night. And, we talked, Fred talked earlier about he would have left Syndergaard in. I would have left Matt Moore in last night. Even though he threw 120 pitches, he'd only given up 2 hits and had 2 walks and 10 strikeouts. I would at least let him go out there and see if he had anything left.
Yeah, if he gets the first
You get
two
first-
guys out,
you
whatever,
let it roll.
then
Yeah.
you get a base runner on, maybe have somebody ready, as soon as he gets out there to the mound. But it's tough. You just never know what's.
That's why they're the managers, and we're sitting here talking about
But,
it.
and nobody should be surprised that the Giants bullpen completely collapsed.
They collapsed all year long. There is no surprise there.
There's no surprise. That was a 30-second blown save. They had by far the most blown saves by any team ever to make the playoffs. They had 30 in the regular season. I mean, think about that a little bit. They won 87.
All the more reason to keep him in there.
They had 87 wins, and they had 30 blown saves.
But you
Well,
never know
they-
what's
they
coming
thought
down
this
from
was gonna be-
upstairs either.
Well, then they're thinking this is going to be the one time where we're going to get the same where it counts.
So even if they go 50-50 on those 30 games, they win 100 games.
Right.
Anyway, that was that. We got
Yeah,
games.
speaking of that, how many teams did win actual 100 games this year going into it?
Only the Cubs.
Only the Cubs.
Yeah. That's why I think this year is anything less than the World Championship would be a disappointment because of the money they spent in the off season
Oh, there's no question. I have to concur with you on
and
that.
winning
too.
103 games.
You know, we got our hopes built up last year. They didn't win it, and everybody said, "Oh, okay, we've got it coming back. They're going to spend a little money. They're going to be down, and to come up short this year, it'll be a grave disappointment." But I'm glad to see, though, in spending a little bit of money to get some additional players, because David Price was out there, and everybody said, "Let's go after him. Let's go after him. Let's go after him." And finally, the Cubs brass said, "Nope," because we don't want to get into postseason and have him collapse on us. And he's done it with every team he's been with. He falls apart postseason.
They certainly looked brilliant last night for getting Aroldis Chapman at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
He came in. One thing that was interesting, Brett's a pitcher. He'll tell you a lot of times they say never get beat with your second best pitch.
He was.
Last night he was gas. He threw 13 pitches, all fastballs, all triple digits on the gun, and 10 of them were strikes. And like you said, the last pitch of the game, if it's up here at 103, you have no chance. But then again, they rocked him the night before.
True.
Even the lefty, Connor Gillespie hit a triple off of
Yeah,
it.
he probably had a little more movement. Just a lot more at stake.
Yeah, but Gillespie didn't hit a fastball.
Yeah, he
tried to throw some jump.
Yeah.
tried to throw a slider.
They told him yesterday, don't show up with jump.
Here it is.
Yeah, here's the heater.
Yeah, no reason even the catcher put the sign out. So the American League Championship Series starts this Friday in Cleveland. They're doing 2-3-2 in the championship series now. They made that change a couple years ago. The World Series was always 2-3-2, but the championship series used to be 2-2-2-1. So
I know you're going for Cleveland, and I'm going to concur with that. I'd like to see Cleveland. I'd like to see a Midwest championship.
yeah, I'm rooting for Cleveland. I think
Because we all know Cleveland's a suburb of Chicago.
I think Terry Francona is a lock for manager of the year.
Yeah.
But I think he's a really good manager.
You think Madden too?
He won 2 world championships with Boston.
Yeah.
So we got 2 games in Cleveland and 3 in Toronto and then 2 in Cleveland. Of course, 5, 6, and 7 are if necessary.
Is
games.
Terry still driving around his moped in Cleveland?
The National League Championship Series starts on this coming Saturday in Chicago. First 2 games in Chicago, and then to the Chicago travels to either LA or Washington for 3, and then back to Chicago.
And it's
for
supposed
6
to
and
be
7.
cold.
Is it?
It's supposed to be cold.
The World Series starts on 25 October this year, which is a Tuesday night. So they play Tuesday and Wednesday night in the American League City. I know Brett hopes it's Cleveland. Then they play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the National League City. I know Fred hopes it's Chicago. And then actually the World Series, we've had one World Series finish in November before, but that was because of a rain out. This World Series is actually scheduled, if it goes 7 games, games 6 and 7 are on the 1st and 2nd of November. So Reggie Jackson wouldn't be any good in this World Series. Mr. October. So tell me who you got and who's going to win.
Well, I've got the Cubs and the Indians, and I'm going with the Cubs. Not changing.
Same.
So
Going with the Indians.
Going with the Indians.
The Windians.
I'm actually rooting for the Dodgers, but I think it's going to be the Cubs and the Indians, and I'm gonna pick Cleveland to beat the Cubs just to get Fred upset. Anyway,
When the camera goes off, there'll be some furniture moving around. No,
we've got let's see, we've got baseball every day from now. The next off day is the 24th of October.
It's a Monday.
So yeah, we've got baseball.
But we got Monday Night Football that night.
we hope everybody enjoys the baseball playoffs, college football this weekend. Tom Brady's back in the NFL.
WNBA.
Lots of good sports. Game. They're tied 1-1.
They're tied 1-1.
In the WNBA. And have a great week in sports, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday morning at 11:30 a.m. Central Time.
I'm guessing that's turned off.
Exit. Escape.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. What the heck?
Right there.
This is a Mac Pro, that's why.
Once you
It's off, I
Hey,
think.
you're not a pro.
Once you go back, you'll never go back.
Just shut it all off.
That's what I'm.
Close the lid.
How do you X out?
Close it. Just close it. The little arrow.
Quit.
On the red. Yes.
I hit quit and it's still. I hit this.